It's a raccoon with a talk show slinging culture facts you might not know. From the biggest flops to the greatest hits, this is Trash Can Tidbits.
Happy holidays, everyone. I'm Beaton, and welcome back to the show. I hope everyone is getting into the mood, despite all that's going on. I'm still here, though, to bring you some fun and random trivia for the week. And last week, I asked the question, how old was Warwick Davis when he played Wicket the Ewok in Return of the Jedi? The answer is 11. As he told it, he was a schoolboy living in London when his grandmother heard an ad on the radio calling for little people to be featured in the next Star Wars film. He was only 11 at the time and a massive Star Wars fan, and only managed to get the part of Wicket after the actor originally cast to play the role, Kenny Baker, who normally played R2-D2, was sick with food poisoning. The filmmakers took a chance on the youngster, and he ended up being the movie's most prominently featured Ewok. A future movie icon was also born in the process. Now, with that address, let's get started with fact number 1. Did you know that there was only one Castlevania game released for the Sega Genesis? Castlevania Bloodlines, known as Castlevania The Next Generation in other territories, was released in 1994 and was one of the few games to have a pre-ESRB rating system, as it was mistakenly rated GA for general audiences, even though it's one of the goriest games in the series. Bloodlines was the only game in the series to adhere more closely to Bram Stoker's original novel, Dracula, as protagonist John Morris was the son of Quincy Morris, the Texas oil baron who killed Dracula and also died himself in the book's finale. Bloodlines was the only game released for a Sega console, and it's definitely one of the best. Fact 2. Did you know that Super Castlevania 4 for the SNES was the last game in the series to be titled numerically? It was a modified remake of the original game for the NES. Castlevania 2 and 3 were the previous games in the series, including the two original Game Boy games, Castlevania The Adventure 1 and 2. Beginning with Rondo of Blood, this began the series tradition of 3 to 4 word subtitles, including Symphony of the Night, Aria of Sorrow, etc. Fact 3. Did you know that a song used for a Mel Brooks movie would later be used for another Mel Brooks movie, in music only? In History of the World Part 1, we are introduced to a teaser for a sequel called History of the World Part 2, which was obviously never made, and it contains a sequence called Jews in Space, a musical parody of Star Wars with Jews. The melody used for that song was later used for the Men in Tights song from Robin Hood Men in Tights. So it's nice to see Mel Brooks reusing some assets that were a big hit the first time around. Fact 4. Did you know that a young Gerard Butler made his debut in a James Bond movie? In Tomorrow Never Dies, the future King Leonidas made a very small appearance as a sailor in the opening HMS Devonshire scene, and has one line which you can recognize by his distinctive Scottish accent. "Sir, we're now down 10 degrees by the stern." Butler was later offered the role of Bond himself in Casino Royale, but turned it down due to fears of typecasting. Which is pretty ironic considering he pretty much has been typecast in action movies like the Olympus Has Fallen series. So he got to play a secret agent anyway, and there are no plans to stop that series anytime soon. Fact 5. Did you know that actress and producer Fran Drescher, known for her distinctively nasal New York voice, used her real name in a few of her projects? Primarily known for playing Fran Fine on the 90s TV series The Nanny, the only project of hers where she's called by her real first name. The other project I know of is of her 1997 romantic comedy, The Beautician and the Beast, where she plays a cosmetologist named Joy Miller, who is mistaken for a teacher and is hired to teach the children of an Eastern European dictator. Joy also happens to be Fran's middle name in real life. Fact 6. Did you know that the original Prince of Persia game was a bit of a family affair for creator Jordan Mechner? He stated that the game came about from his love of adventure films and animation. The animations for the Prince character were taken from footage of his brother David, running around, jumping, climbing, fighting, etc. The footage was then rotoscoped, which means traced over animation paper frame by frame and digitized into the game. The process is still used in animation today for more fluid movements. Further, Mechner's father, Francis, composed the game's music score, as he did for Mechner's first game, Karateka. Fact 7. Did you know that Jude Law was featured in 2 films where his character is impersonated by another character? He played Playboy Dickie Greenleaf in The Talented Mr. Ripley, who was originally supposed to be taken by Matt Damon's character back to America, but when Greenleaf ends up dead, Ripley ends up masquerading as him. The second film is the underrated science fiction film Gattaca, where people are genetically engineered to be perfect. In this movie, he plays a genetically perfected specimen named Jerome, who ends up giving permission for his DNA to be used by Ethan Hawke's flawed character Vincent to be sent into outer space, essentially giving someone else a chance to be him. Fact 8. Did you know that the scene in the live-action How the Grinch Stole Christmas, where the Grinch is directing his dog Max with a megaphone and wearing a ball cap, is a parody on director Ron Howard's style? Howard is well known for directing in that same style, and actually came about when Howard himself got made up as the Grinch himself, as a practical joke on Jim Carrey. However, the joke initially backfired when Jim got rather displeased and didn't recognize Howard at first, thinking they'd hired a stunt Grinch who wasn't good-looking enough. Jim eventually relaxed, and Howard spent the rest of the day directing in full Grinch makeup. As a nod to this, the scene in question where the Grinch directs his dog was created on the spot. Fact 9. Did you know that Stephen King directed only 1 movie based on one of his stories? Maximum Overdrive was released in 1986 based on his short story Trucks, from his collection of short stories, Night Shift. It starred Emilio Estevez as a prison parolee getting caught up in a phenomena in which a comet brings machines and vehicles to life and starts terrorizing people. It was King's only directorial effort, and subsequently, he never directed again due to the movie's very poor reception. He called his brief time as a director a learning experience. Fact 10. Did you know that now with her participation as an enemy-turned-ally Fennec Shen on The Mandalorian, Ming-Na Wen has now become the only actress who's played a Disney princess, a Marvel hero, and a Star Wars character? Ming-Na is most famous for providing the voice for Disney's Mulan, and she also appeared as Agent Melinda May on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Also worth mentioning is that she played the original Queen of Fighters, Chun-Li, in the Street Fighter film. Suffice it to say, Ming-Na Wen is not just worthy of being a princess, a warrior, and a fighter, she is a freaking queen! And here's this week's trivia question. The holiday animated specials from Rankin Bass have had an amazing collection of talent associated with them. That includes the famous personalities that have provided narration, including the likes of Burl Ives for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Shirley Booth for The Year Without a Santa Claus, Greer Garson in The Little Drummer Boy, and Jimmy Durante for Frosty the Snowman. The narrator that bears special mention here is Fred Astaire, who provided the voice of Special Delivery Kluger in Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Astaire is the only narrator of a Rankin Bass special who got to provide narration twice. My question to you is, which Rankin Bass special did Fred Astaire provide a second narration for? And there we go for this week. We're getting closer to the holidays, and I'm thinking I should prepare another Christmas movie themed list. You got any ideas for what I can look at? Go ahead and comment below. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and ring the bell for future video notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.